to the woods today. You'd better not go alone.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Build Alton Towers. A very sunny day here at Alton in Staffordshire in the UK. Now, I do apologise. It has been a few weeks since we last looked at an episode on this series. That's just due to a very hectic work and social life at the moment. But I am trying to get back on track. Pardon the pun, I'm looking at a roller coaster. Back on track. Yep, you get it? Yep, good. We'll forget that. Now, if you can remember as far back as the last episode, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, we built Rita, which we can see just in front of us here. And as is quite realistic to the actual ride, it's got a very big queue. It's got a very popular queue line. So yeah, that is that's where we're at there. Now, what we are going to be doing in this episode, if I can talk properly, that is, as you've seen by the title, is we are going to be building 13. Now, 13 is a very unique coaster. It has a world's first element, and I won't spoil it if you don't want to know, but I mean, it's been around that long now that I imagine people would, if you're going to go on 13, you probably have done, and you probably know about the world's first element. Essentially, it has a drop section of track, so it goes into a tunnel, and it drops to a lower section and then leaves backwards. So yeah, really interesting style coaster. It cost, I believe, 15 million when it was first built. And it's been around since around 2010. I will have to double check that, but it's around that old. So it's been around a good 10 years or so at least. But yeah, it's based down in the dark forest along with Rita. This is the sign that I have already done. I've tried to replicate it as best I can. So yeah, that's my attempt at the 13 sign. And if the number 13 wasn't spooky enough, this is episode 13 of the series. Genuinely didn't plan that. As much as I'd love to say I did, I didn't plan that, and that's just a really spooky coincidence. If you're watching this on a Friday, then don't walk under any ladders, don't cross paths with a black cat or anything like that. Yeah, I would just go to sleep and wait till the next day, because I think there may be some bad luck omens in this episode. But yeah, stick around and we shall make a start on building 13. Right, so I've got my layout for 13. Now, disclaimer, this is going to be the most difficult ride to replicate at Alton Towers, because the coaster just isn't in the game, and what I need the coaster to be able to do just isn't in the game. So what I've started here, I mean, obviously I've started doing the station, and I will show that in a bit once it's complete. But the path essentially comes down here, goes around, goes underneath Rita, and goes all the way back down to the main entrance just there. And then the exit will drop down here. There's an on my photo booth, and then that leads down into a shop. And it kind of joins out. I think it comes out about here. But again, I'll just have to double check that looking at the Alton Towers map. Now, this coaster itself. So you come out, you drop down, and then you go into the lift hill. Now, in real life, the lift hill is drive tyres. Uses drive tyres mainly for noise. That was part of planning permission for Alton to be able to get to build 13 because of the nearby residents. So the lift hill is using drive tyres, which I obviously can't do in this game because drive tyres can only be built on a flat on a flat piece. So what I've had to use, especially on this type of coaster, I've had to use this system. So if we go up here, these are basically holding brakes. So you get to the top and there's a very short delay before it drops off. I have to live with that, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I will sort out the walkway. I think the walkway's on the left going up, but again, something I will check to get the details just right. But yeah, and then you essentially head off into the forest. You go around. Now the layout, when you look at it without the forest, actually looks pretty tame. And it is pretty tame. If you look at the Coaster 13 on its own, I think it's pretty tame. And there was a few disgruntled people when it first opened, because Alton Towers did a really good marketing scheme for it. Really good marketing project. Lots of hype for it, that it was a really spooky coaster. Very creepy, as you saw with the trailer at the beginning. That sort of very eerie, don't go down to the woods today vibe. But when it opened, people, I think, feel it to be more of like an extreme runaway train is, I think, the best way to describe it. Now, the main section happens here. So you go to a second lift hill, and you go inside this section of track. And then this section is where it drops. It pauses you. A few explosions go off. The track drops, and then you go out backwards. I can't do that, so I've had to do this. And that's as good as I can get, or as realistic as I can get 13. And it goes down here, does the same thing there, it changes direction again like that, and goes in. I appreciate that isn't the best, the best way to, or the most realistic replica of 13, but that is as close as I can possibly get on this game with the functions I have. Now, if you do want to know how to do that, I will do a separate video just to show you how I've done that, in case you want to use something like that on a coaster of your own. I appreciate it's not the most realistic looking, looking piece of track, the way the cars just kind of switch around like that. But, I appreciate some people will still want to know how to do it. So, yeah, I will do a separate video, probably not long after this has gone out, just to show you how I've done this. But yeah, again, so just it will go into the tunnel, which I'll obviously theme, etc. It pauses for a couple of seconds. That's when the track drops, and then this will go forward, switch around like that, go down, and crack on. Now, obviously, this is normally backwards. This section, I can't make it go backwards, unfortunately. So yeah, but I mean, overall, I'm fairly happy with the layout for 13. This will just take the most of the track will take a lot of theming just with trees, because that is essentially all it is. Just a lot of trees. There is nothing really to the track other than when you get back to the station and the tunnel just here. This is all in one building in separate sections. And once you get back here, that's where all of the scenery goes. So yeah, I'll crack on, and I'll come back to you once I've completed designing 13. Okay, and here is 13. Heck of a lot of theming gone into this. You saw how basic the layout of 13 is. If you've never been on it, it's not the most thrilling. There's no inversions. It is just the drop section of track, but the theming in terms of the scenery around and linking up the building, etc., did take me a little bit of time, but we are about there with it. So I will go through it all shortly. We have built an access road down here because there is a bit of a road down the back of 13, and then that leads over to around Cloud Cuckoo Land, which is where we'll be moving on to next. And then that goes over further on towards Oblivion and the Smiler. So, right, what should we do? We will go down the main entrance, I think. And you know what? I'm going to go in flip cam mode. So let's just select Arthur Templeton there. Flick him to flip cam, and we'll get rid of the menu, and we'll head in. So yeah, obviously over the entrance of 13, you've got Rita going round. And then there's the 13 shop just there. Some people are going in there, but we'll go through the queue line first. So you've constantly got Rita kind of roaring past you as you go around, and then this queue line kind of brings you down into the woods, as you saw in the trailer at the start of the video. The whole theme to 13 was you better not go down to the woods alone. Yeah, and there is an abandoned van in the queue line on 13, which is what I've tried to replicate just there. Just crashed in the forest and being overgrown by plants now. I've tried to replicate the layout of the queue line as best I could. It's probably not exactly perfect, but I think you kind of get the gist of 13 with it. There's a few like straight runs and there's a few like kettle pen queues, and then you carry on. And then you get down to the front here, and you can't see the rest of the ride because it's blocked out by the trees. Now you can just see it here, creeping through. But I mean that's just because I can't. Otherwise, the trees would be floating. There is no massive tree other than that one that is tall enough to block out the view there. So we'll go around here. Now at this point you get to the front and there is a bag drop. Now I think because of COVID they weren't doing bag drops at the minute, and you were taking bags on the ride with you or leaving them in the station, but I'm not sure whether they will reopen that, but I built it anyway. And then also there is a fast pass queue that comes down the side of here that I've not put in the fast pass queue just because of how tight it is. But what I have done is when you get down here, the fast pass queue then goes on and does have a separate queue line, which I have done up there. So we'll go up this way. Now the green panelling here is basically scaffolding. Around the station of 13, there is permanent scaffolding and netting, and this is the sort of effect it looks like. So yeah, that's what I've done for that, and that's what that is. So we'll go up here. So this fast pass queue just goes straight on there. There is a little ball inside of the queue line just here that has these electric shocks going off every 13 seconds. Believe it or not, there's a slow, ghostly voice that counts to 13, and it goes off every 13 seconds. And we get down here, and we're in the station. So this is the station of 13. You go down to the front, and there's an operator down here tells you which bay to go to. So yeah, this is the station. As I say, I have put lockers in there. I'm just going to pause that before they run off. I have put lockers in there because at the minute people are using that, but I don't know what Alton Towers' plans are going forward. And then we have the ride operator inside his own little cabin just there. Trains not exactly like 13, but this is the sort of coaster I needed to use in order to make this ride. So yeah, you're gonna have to give me a little bit of leeway on that. I have to ask. But in terms of the restraints are right. There's it is just a lap bar restraint on 13. But yeah, then we've got the queue line numbers just there. But that is pretty much it for that. So I'm going to start the POV now. As I say, I think this is as close to 13 as I can get. For those of you who know 13 have been on it, I'm sure you'll be intrigued to see how I've gone about it. For those of you who haven't, enjoy, and I'll explain afterwards. But yeah, we'll hop on and enjoy. There we go. I'll just come back out of flipcam mode. That was 13. Now, as I say, unfortunately, a drop section on a coaster is not something that happens in Planet Coaster. There isn't any way I can do that better, I don't think, in terms of using the trigger sounds and the time machine. As you can see here, the guests actually turn around and go forwards. Now you'll notice the camera went a little bit off, and because of that glitch, it kind of makes the camera go a little bit funny. So I do apologise, and then you get down here and it turns back around again. But yeah, the camera veers off to the side for some reason. But yeah, and then obviously in real life, you come out backwards, you get here, you stop, you sit on the brake, whilst this section of track moves over to the left, and then there's a section of track just underneath here that you should be able to see, just there, and then that moves out, and then that's what takes the train going straight again. So that's how it works. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know if that's if that's as accurate as you thought I could probably get it. Whether it's as good, whether it's not as good, whether you think there's a better way. I would love to know your thoughts on how you would attempt to do that. I think that's the best way I could do it. Unfortunately, because I can't send that car backwards by doing the same glitch, that's the only way I could do it. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that really does look like 13. In all honesty, I think that really does do the job. I was a bit sceptical about the scaffolding at first, but I think that actually does a good job. And it's amazing that the poles, by overhanging the poles, by having them poking out the end, it looks a lot more like scaffolding doing it like that than setting them flush. But yeah, that's that. We'll go through here and we'll go out the exit. So you go down this little ramp here, and you get to the bag collection. So you pick up your bags off this kind lady. There's the 13 photos there, where you can buy your on-ride photos. And then if we go down this path, down here, I don't know why they're going down that way. That's the wrong way. You get down to the 13 shop, which is just a little gift shop. I put one of my vending machines in there. And then some of my Tommy CM t-shirts that you can buy. Merch is not linked in the description, unfortunately. And then there's a few like statues hidden in the shop as well. And then you're back out on the main area. So that's the Dark Forest complete. A lot of trees, a lot of scenery, and yeah, I mean, there's only 2 rides in that. There's only 2 coasters. The coasters aren't very long, and I'm at 51% on a PS5. Now, the reason for that is obviously because of the piece count. If I start selecting all of these, you'll see instantly that the piece count shoots right up because of how many I've used. Also, the fact I've used triggers on 13 there. So you can see there, I've shot up. I'm on 16,000. There's a good few thousand just in the towers here, and then obviously Hex was all scenery as well. So yeah, I mean 51%. But all we're doing for the rest of this map is we'll be moving on to Cloud Cuckoo Land, which goes around this area and comes up to sort of like the back of Hex. So we'll be doing that, and then that will be map number 2 complete. So that is the plan for the next episode or 2. Depending on how much I think it will take to squeeze in. I don't know yet until I start doing it. But yeah, Cloud Cuckoo Land is what's coming up next. But yeah, please do let me know if you enjoyed 13 there, and if you did, please do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new, as I really do appreciate it. But yeah, I will leave you with that, and I shall see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.